I don't know what's happening.
Tyler.
Yes.
Hulk dildo. 3, 2,
Wait, what?
1.
What? No, you can't just introduce the podcast on that. What the fuck? Why did you randomly say Hulk dildo?
The conversation we were having on the lobby channel.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I'm scared now of how... This podcast is going to get dark, isn't it?
Nah, come on. That's just the beginning. We were making dick jokes before we started the podcast. And then for some reason we started talking about colors of, that. And
I don't think anyone wants to know.
Well, I'm just explaining. You say, you could start a podcast on Hulk dildo. God damn it, Tyler.
Sorry.
I forgot to do your accent. I'm sorry. Well, anyway. Hulk dildo. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Shifty podcast. I'm Luis, aka SpartanSloth, and today we have
Arno Dorian.
Fuck's sake, TJ.
I mean, TJ1023.
I'm TDBTyler.
And I'm LoZelda.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Lou. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's been a long time. When was I last on?
Yeah,
I don't know. Tyler, do you remember? Since you're the one who's made all of those nifty little charts.
I think it was before episode 10, to be honest.
Jesus.
It was a
Or
long time
around
ago.
that time.
But I do remember she has one of those nameplate things. So that's good. Because I'm forgetting that a lot of the guests that come on nowadays don't have those for the thumbnail. But I think LoZelda actually requested one of those.
Yeah, because I got tagged in it. I was like, all right, sure, yeah, whatever. I'll take a name tag thing. I'll be on again at some point.
And here you are.
No, yeah, and
now you
here
can
I
get
am.
some use out of it.
Self-fulfilling prophecy right there. You build it, they will come, so...
I'm
And
just checking through the graph to see when she was on last before we move on, sorry.
I forget you keep like graphs and all that.
Holy
Now,
crap,
oh,
she
here
was
is like
on the 5th podcast.
I'm
Wow.
fully on 50
50
podcasts.
Almost
Episodes.
50. Oh no,
No,
that's
exactly.
50 episodes later.
So I'll see you guys again on 105.
Jeez.
No, let's not make that a thing. Hopefully we can get you before that.
Awesome.
She was on the podcast before I was. My first podcast was episode 6. That's crazy.
This is getting funnier and funnier. I love it.
Ah,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
weird.
So how you guys been over
Saturday.
the last 50 podcasts? Good?
Good. Been up
Yeah.
and down. It's been like a year.
Stuff happened. Lots of it.
Damn.
Christ.
We've pretty much just delved deeper into our madness.
Okay, well, that happens on every podcast. It's just, as soon as you get 50 more in, it's like, all limits and barriers you had up, those have all gone out the window, and everyone's kind of lost their mind a little bit, but it's an understanding you all have that, like, it's okay that they're batshit crazy at this point. It's cool.
It's bizarre as well, because once we got past, like, episode 50, there was this, like, feeling that I had of, wow, we've been doing this a fucking long time. Like, I came in late as well, so... God damn it. Is it because I said came in late?
Exactly because of that.
Christ.
God.
But I think it must be dragging for Luis and TJ, who have been here from the beginning.
Not at all, dude.
I mean, don't you feel like you have many cases of deja vu? Like when you're on the podcast
Not
and you start
really.
discussing the same thing.
To be honest, I really, really enjoy recording this. I mean, working with the podcast in general, the stuff I do. So, yeah,
fun.
every week is a new experience.
I don't really have cases of deja vu because I generally don't remember what we talked about.
Oh,
yeah. I have like really bad memory. Actually, it depends. I have good memory when it's like a specific thing that I recognize. But if you ask me to like remember something, I'll be like, what? What happened? China.
The only thing I can remember from like the section of podcasts between episode 30 and episode 39 was that I couldn't pronounce the word fucking 30. So it was like the worst experience on the podcast would be, yeah, we're on episode 30, trying to say it right, you know? That's the only thing I can remember from that little chunk of 10 podcasts.
Well, hey, that's one thing that's changed in less than 50 episodes. You can now pronounce the, your T's and your H's.
Sort of. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah, there have been many a times where I fucked up saying the word 33, which, by the way, a shout out to Luis's sister, who specifically requested that I had to say that in this podcast.
33.
Yes.
Yeah. Luis, when we entered this channel on here, he said, oh, by the way, my sister came in and just said, like, you have to say 33. I was like, okay.
Man, this week, she was listening to the podcast, and I had to explain, like, here's the thing. We all make content for the internet, right? So I feel like there's some stuff we might take for granted.
Like what?
But yeah, I'm getting there. Like, my sister was listening to the podcast the other day, and I heard my own voice from the other room. I was like, what the... Oh, right, yeah.
That
podcast.
must be a very weird experience.
Yeah,
yourself.
it's a little bit. And then it was a part, I think we were talking about, like, Blue Waffle. It was an episode with Gaff. And,
no.
yeah. And then I remember I heard myself shouting, don't Google that. And then my sister comes up and says, hey, what's Blue Waffle?
It's like, did you understand my warning on the podcast? Don't try to find out.
Yeah, and I was like, well, as I said, don't Google it. Yeah, but what is it? I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to research it. Don't do it.
At that point, you're
say-
kind of just leading her on, though.
Yeah, you know. I wanted her to Google it. Like,
She didn't Google it, she used Bing.
oh, that's...
No,
she-
even
she
worse,
didn't
she used
actually-
Yahoo.
She didn't actually research it because I sort of explained, as far as I know. And then, not much after, or I think a bit before that, she asked me, what does FAP mean?
Oh, that one can be explained.
Well, yeah, but, it's my sister.
Wait, she's your older sister, right?
Yeah, she's my older sister.
Then she's kind of like...
She's probably been
Yeah.
there before.
But it's
Yeah,
still weird to
well,
explain that
yeah.
to a family member. Like,
Yeah.
that's,
True.
But I do
Thank you, Jenn.
I crack up over FAP all the time because that's an abbreviation we use at work. It stands for like field action process. So people talk about FAP all the time, and I have the maturity level of a 12-year-old boy, so I crack up every time it happens.
Guys, I gotta be right back. I'm gonna field action process. Wait, what?
So, yeah, I had to explain like 3 or 4 expressions.
I blame Luis's sister.
Yeah, let's all blame my sister.
She started this.
Yeah. God damn it, sis.
I mean, technically speaking, Luis started it, right? I mean...
Shut up, Tyler!
Well, I mean, if you want to go all the way back to the beginning, I mean, you had a bunch of like, amino acids floating around in the muck.
What?
God.
Did you say in the
Okay.
butt?
If you want to get really technical, we'll go to the beginning of time, shall we? That's where it all started.
So, a big explosion happened. It's called the Big Bang.
Bow chicka bow wow.
Oh, gosh. That
Hey,
would be
speaking
a
of
weird
big
tangent.
explosions and stuff that changed
There it is.
in 50 episodes, you got promoted to like forum mod, although the title is not really precise.
They
Right,
should
Jenn?
change the title to demigod.
That would be a great title change. I should suggest that for the next version of the website. But yeah, no, I think it was in October. A group of people, myself included, got promoted to forum mod status to try to help with the expansion of the site. The site's gotten a lot bigger, and they hadn't added mods in a while, and they had some mods that were inactive, and they were like, well, that doesn't do us a lot of good if we have only really like 7 to 10 actual moderators floating around when you've got 1.6 million registered users, and at peak
Jeez.
activity you've got 30,000 people on at a time, and it's like, we should have a little bit more presence here. So So yeah, I got asked to do that, and I was super ecstatic about it, and it's been an interesting experience so far, because I think I'd had my mod powers for a grand 72 hours before I already had reasons to use it. Because there was someone who was... It's always really nice when new people join the website, and there's a group of people who will like go around and look for the new members and post something on their comment page that says "Welcome to the site," blah blah blah.
I was one of those in the past.
So it's, like, I always think it's really nice when that happens. So someone was doing that and then hyperlinking it.
Hyperlink.
It was a link, and if you clicked on it, it took you to Meatspin.
Oh, son of a bitch.
We're like, what? So someone pointed it out to me, and I was like, nope, I gotta go fix that. So I went into their log and looked at every activity they had recently, and deleted all those links, and sent them a message, and I was like, hey, this is kind of a dick move, and against all the rules in terms of use and stuff, and so you've been placed on the naughty list, and if you screw up again, we're banning you from the site.
Wow.
And you're getting your balls cut off.
Also, this was right before Christmas, right? So you sent him a block of coal?
Oh, God.
Block of coal. You've been naughty.
That would be great if we could actually
make some barbecue.
Do that.
Dick.
But yeah, no, it's been cool because the moderators and the admins, we have our own forum that we can talk to each other in. So like if we have a situation where we're like, I'm not really sure what the appropriate action here is, if it, like to full on censor it or just like give them a warning, or if this like user needs to be banned or something like that, we can actually all talk to each other and be like, hey, what do you guys think about this before I do something? So it's cool that we have that kind of relationship and that kind of place where we can go and get other people's opinions, so that way, you know, most of the time before we do something, we are making sure that we're not stepping out of line, and that if another mod found it, they would take the same kind of action and all that stuff. So it's really nifty to kind of have that relationship. And Caleb's really awesome. He's really involved with us too, and is constantly checking in with us. And we all kind of work together. So there's definitely some things that I don't have the power to do. There's things that only the site admins can do. So it really sucks. Like the other day, you may have noticed there were a ton of new groups that got added. And they all were for like, click here to watch this movie free. Somehow somebody went on a spam spree, and I don't know how many fake accounts were created, but 4,500 groups were created.
Whoa. Wow.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, it was so we managed to get it. Adam put something in place to shut it down, so that way it would stop. But it's still a manual process to remove all of those groups. And so that's something that only the admins can do. So the moderators were just sitting there going, I'm really sorry, I wish I could help, but all I can do is help you find them all. And yeah,
we can just add to the work you have to do by finding more.
So it's like, all we could do was like try to help point them in the direction of where some of them were. Because after a while, it gets really easy to look at like the list of new groups, and it's like, okay, well, they're all showing up there. But after a while, it's like, okay, where did the rest of them go? So
yeah,
that was exciting.
I also kind of have experiences with like doing the forum moderating stuff that you're doing. I'm not going to say for what website because I don't know if I'm allowed to. But they get like, it's not Pornhub, but it gets like about 7,000 active members a day, probably.
Okay.
So it's nowhere near the same level. But they have this stupid rule. I don't know why they have it. You're not allowed to swear. So as a forum admin, I'm the only one for England as a forum admin. So that means I cover USA, Australia, Scotland, all that fun stuff. Basically, anytime someone swears, I have to edit it, or I lose my job as a moderator on the site, pretty much, because I'm not really doing my job if I don't, enforce that rule. But then I get the look from the community like, people have heard the word shit before. Like, do you really have to edit that? And I'm like, yes, I do, because I have to. Like, it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah. Was this like the Club Penguin forums or something?
No. I'm not saying what it is, because then you'll find me and harass me on that.
Well, just out of curiosity, if I did say the correct one, would you tell us?
Oh yeah, definitely, but you probably wouldn't. This is why TJ's been stalking me on that website for like a year, and he's been like,
I finally found you.
That's kind of like the whole, hey, if you're a cop, you have to tell me, right?
But speaking of which, so how does it work with you, Jenn? You know, the whole thing of watching over the site. Like, is there, as a forum mod, you guys get like special sections of the site so you can keep an easier track of things, or you gotta go like group pages and check all that, and everyone tab and check that, you know, a slower kind of work?
So the way it works is there used to be like forum specific mods, like someone would be assigned to general and someone would be assigned to RVB and, you know, all that. They don't do that anymore, so we kind of have, I don't want to say free reign over the site. Nobody has a realm they are particularly responsible for, but we all also have places we tend to hang out, which is part of the reason that this particular group was chosen. It's like, I spend a lot of time in the level 20 forums and the RVB forums, and so people kind of know it's like, okay, if something happens in there, I'm probably going to find it. And there's some people who hang out in the billboard and all that. So while we're not specifically assigned to a place, we do kind of have like our world where people know that they can find us. And that the other mods know that too. And every once in a while, it's like, I always check the everyone tab. Just because that was something I did before I was a moderator. I just like to see what's going on, what people are up to and whatnot. So there's been no behavior change that I've had to worry about. Like, oh, I have to make sure I go and look at this forum, or I'll check this tab, or like go look in these places. It's like, there's a lot of things, like anything that's, like, we see everything that's posted. Like, if you post a friends-only journal and you and I are not friends, I'm still going to see it. Because we have to have the ability to moderate stuff, and we can't moderate it if we don't have access to it. So there's a lot of things that would normally be, like, quote-unquote private that we still have the ability to see just for the sake of being able to do our job. But it's not like, okay, well, you have to make sure you check this, and you have to make sure you check that. So, I just kind of keep an eye out for my normal things, because I always kind of float. I have the threads I'm always in, and then I make a habit of every once in a while just like seeing what new forums have popped up, just partially because it's like, I just want to know if I want to be a part of the conversation. Like, I like talking to people, so I haven't had to worry about doing anything differently, which is nice. And then if I find anything that I think is questionable, it's like, I can't delete journals, but I can edit someone's journal. So if they post something they're not supposed to, I have moderator powers over journals, over images, and over forums. Site admins are the people who can like ban a user and like take, you know, like those bigger, more extreme steps. So I can do a lot of censorship, but my banning powers are limited solely to forums.
That's scary.
So I assume you wouldn't be able to tase Tyler if I were to somehow slip you $20. Like, actually tasing Tyler.
Wait,
I don't think that's how it works.
Isn't this against forum rules that Luis is trying to sabotage my profile? He's breaking the rules, miss.
We're not on the forums right now.
I'm saying tasing you personally, like shocking you with a
you know,
taser gun.
That goes beyond the moderator thing. That's just like a person thing, and if they gave us tasers as guardians, my job would be a lot easier. I'm just saying that.
A lot more fun.
Luis,
yeah.
Plus, you would have to pay a lot more than 20 quid. She has to actually get to me. A flight is going to cost a lot of money.
I barely understand how a moderator works. So I'm just saying there might be magic involved.
Oh, there's totally magic involved.
I'm sure it's like a house elf from Harry Potter, where if you tell them to do something, they kind of have to do it, and they can defy all the laws and just do it. It just happens.
Do it.
And now
it's like Tyler he hears a knock on his door in 5 seconds, and LoZelda's right there with the taser.
I would be fucking creeped out if my door goes and knocks now. That'd be scary.
Hey, Tyler.
Oh.
Knock, knock.
No, that's not funny.
I'm really sad that nobody knocked on your door at that moment, because that would have been great.
I would have also just been like, okay, I'm going to be right back. If I don't come back in 10 minutes, someone call the police in England.
What's the number for the police in England?
999.
999.
No.
You guys aren't the first people to make that joke. It's crazy.
Yeah, here it's 190.
See, that one's weird to me. I at least understand 911.
But why is 911 better than 190 or 999?
Because that's 3 different numbers.
I mean, if you were like in a super ultra kind of hurry, like you're being melted down by aliens and you need to quickly dial a number, 999 sounds easier. Like you just mash the 9 button 3 times and that's it.
What if you hit
I
it a fourth time?
understand that, but
You're
You
boned.
see, that's my problem. It's like if I'm
Yeah.
just mashing the same button, I like 911 because it makes me think it's like, okay, I have to hit 2 different buttons, and it's like, okay, I hit this one once and this one twice. Like if I hit a button too fast, but I hit it 4 times. If I hit it 4 times, is it still gonna call them, or are they just getting like a bunch of like dial sounds in their ear now because I hit it more than once? And these
Or
are the
maybe-
questions that keep me up at night.
It's just like they just have a
And-
special dispatcher. It's like, okay, we've got somebody who typed in 4 9s. Yeah, we gotta move them over there, put them in the waiting list. That's what you
And-
get for not doing it 3 times.
the
seems harsh.
9999. No, that's a lesson to learn, Tyler. Don't hit the number 9 4 times.
Well, considering it would be like in an emergency. I can imagine how
Have
harsh
any
that
of you
would
guys ever actually had to dial the police number?
I have, but
Nope.
because I was in a car wreck and the other person was hurt, so
Oh,
I had,
guess
to call, I had to call him for that, but they weren't like hurt, like there wasn't like blood and stuff, but they're like, I can't move my arm. I'm like, I will call someone for you.
be. Jeez.
That's what you get for running a red light and hitting me, but I will call someone for you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't dial it, but I did have the police show up for a crash. Someone involved me in their crash. Like, my car was parked, and I covered that story before
Someone
on the podcast.
involved
but
me in their crash. It's probably one
No.
of the sketchiest statements you could
No,
have possibly
I-
said about.
I mean
They
it.
involved me. They
My
walked
car was
by and pulled
parked,
me in.
like, perfectly parked, by the way. The policeman even said that, wow, that's some really good parking here, but I'm not kidding. That's serious.
That's
Some
so
quality parking right
unbelievable.
there.
Well, dude, you don't drive in my city. This place can be a real shithole sometimes to drive.
But I feel like when it comes to parking, there are only two. There should only be 2 options: parked or not parked.
Oh, buddy,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised.
There shouldn't be different levels of acceptable parking. It's
Wow, that parking
I
is
again,
You'd
fantastic.
be really surprised here.
I agree
But
there
anyway.
shouldn't be, but there are because people are just dumb. But
It's like, oh, there are little sparkles all over your parking place. It's amazing.
Nah, but we'll get to... Yeah, just... TJ, shut up. Anyway, my car was parked, and then
Start
some
chicken.
dude in a fucking moped, mopeds?
Yeah.
oh yeah,
They
So,
have those
yeah.
over there? That's cool.
Yeah, well, I don't like those because of
Yeah,
this
they
accident.
fucking suck, regardless, but that's cool.
Dude. So the guy who was riding that, he, and I'm going to quote Miley Cyrus here, came in like a wrecking ball on the back side of my car and fucking wrecked it. Like, my car
Wow.
was there parked innocently, and the motherfucker just crashed into my car that was parked while doing like his crazy stunts because he was being a douchebag. And
Wait,
doing,
did you
according
just
to
say
the story,
he was
What?
doing crazy stunts?
yes,
On
but
a
here's the
moped.
thing.
On a fucking
On
moped?
a fucking moped. Yeah, but not like really crazy stunts. Here's the thing. He was breaking some of the laws, like he was over the speed limit. He wasn't wearing his helmet properly, it seemed. He tried to cut another driver while that driver was giving the signal that they were going to turn. He didn't stop at the stop sign. So he was breaking like a fuckload of rules. So that's what I'm calling crazy stunts.
Yeah.
And then he crashed into my car. So that was a thing.
okay.
Mm.
I have to ask a question. You said
Yes.
he wrecked your car.
Oh, I'm not using the word lightly. Like, the windshield was fucked. The trunk door also got like really, really bent
Did your
inside.
car still work after it?
Oh yeah, it worked. It didn't like
Well, then it wasn't wrecked, because wrecked usually implies that it was.
it will
undrivable.
no
Yeah.
longer
I was
work,
trying to figure out
okay.
Yeah.
what this guy's moped was made out of. that he couldn't
Yeah,
wreck his
platinum.
car.
It was like-
Unobtainium.
It's as if a fucking tank had crashed into my car. Like, the damage on the
Wait.
backside was awful. I couldn't believe it. Like, I got out. I was at a friend's house. And so I got out and I looked at my car and it was like all fucked up. I'm like, oh, god damn it. What what hit it. And then I looked to the right, it's a fucking moped, and it wasn't even wrecked. It had like a piece here and there broken, but I looked at it and I couldn't believe my eyes. Like, what the fuck?
Oh.
Yes, Tyler, he smashed my back. Said, Hugh, that's very fun, you asshole.
Sorry. For the audience, I just randomly posted, so he smashed in your backside, and I thought that would have been your kind of humour, but apparently not when it's involving your car.
Well, I would. To be fair, I would have made that joke if I.
If I was telling the story, you would.
Yeah, if I didn't get so pissed every time I remember that, I would have made the joke. So fair enough.
I would just like to cover something as well. Earlier, I said something like, I think I said something like, mopeds are for fuck's sake. Like, I'm surprised you have them over there as well. I've got nothing against people that drive or use mopeds responsibly, but if you're an absolute pleb with them, like that dude clearly was, you're an asshole. There's no reason to be breaking multiple laws in a fucking moped. If you're gonna break the law with a fucking thing, don't do it in a piece of shit like that and wreck someone else's more expensive car.
if you're gonna drive crazy, just do it in like a Lamborghini or something.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. That's the wrong message. But like, don't use your piece of shit moped to smash a car worth thousands of pounds. Sorry.
No offense, but I don't get your argument. You're saying don't use. Why not just say don't drive like an idiot and crash into a car? Why say don't use a moped? Because then you're implying you can use anything else.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm gonna go out.
That's a bad
I'm
point,
just gonna start
isn't
wrecking
it?
shit everywhere. It's gonna
Hey,
be.
I just stole a tank from the army place.
I just got a Bugatti
I'm saying
Veyron.
we're
I
not
was like to
using
hit
cars.
everyone.
Tyler said it's okay. I'm not using a moped.
So just to clarify, like, it just hit me that maybe moped is not exactly the word, because I did a Google search and they're showing like bicycles with an engine. So here's what I mean.
This could make a difference.
If it was like a fucking bicycle, I would be
No, this is
shocked.
what I was
That's
picturing.
a
When you were
moped.
saying moped,
Yeah?
this
Okay.
is
Yeah,
that's a moped.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's it. So yeah, that was the thing. And then the cops came because usually when there's a car crash or something like that here in Brazil, people have to go to the police district. But when one of the persons involved is injured, then they go to the place of the accident. So the guy, like, he messed up. Well, he didn't actually really mess up. His leg was hurting, or so he said, and his arm was a bit cut because of the windshield smash.
Oh,
So
God,
they had to.
didn't.
What?
Sorry. I'm just like, I hate it when they're like, oh yeah, I'm injured. It was your fault. Like, you crashed into the back of a parked car.
Yeah, you should have seen the whole show he put up.
Oh, he hit me in his parked car. He reversed really fast.
It didn't get to that, but dude, I was
If
shaking in
If he
anger.
says
But
his
I'm
leg
good at keeping
hurts,
control.
step on his
so.
leg. Then you can find out if it really hurts.
Kind of like Max Payne, like, oh, I'm going to walk from this. Yeah, you'll walk with a lamp. No, I wouldn't do that. That would be... No. And speaking of law enforcement, sorry, Jen, I'm still really curious about being a forum mod.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if I can ask you this. If I can,
Yeah,
Tyler,
I just
please
might not
edit it out. But
Yeah,
yeah, well,
tell you,
fair
shut
enough.
up.
What is up with Hobby and the Hand? Because these are two mods that seems like they have been around since forever. But since I guess I'll be nearing 2 years on the site, I don't exactly know or understand what they are. Like, I know that back in the day, people would post in the comments just hobby, and that's it. So
Yeah. If I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Okay, you ready for this?
okay,
I have
Should I
no
let
fucking
out?
idea.
Oh, okay.
all right.
I have no idea. For the longest time, I thought I just missed something, and I was like, maybe it's like an admin and like moderator joke. So like when we were on those forums and we're all talking, I'm like, can someone please explain to me what's going on with like what is the hand? Who like what is going? Yeah, no one will tell me. I can't tell if it's just because they don't know and it's like a joke that's been going on so long that like people don't actually know anymore. But they're like everyone else knows it's a joke, so I'm just gonna pretend I know what it is too. yeah, I got nothing.
It's
Wow.
just
It
a
seems
joke
like
that
a
everybody agrees is a joke, but they don't know why.
Yeah, it
The
could
context
be
is gone.
there's probably someone who knows something, but I don't know what it is.
I think I should ask Nick, Nick Gons, because the other day, his profile all of a sudden changed. Like, his username was different, and then I think it was Heathen. It got changed to that. And then his sponsor tag was different too. And then a journal got posted.
Interesting.
And it was something along the lines of, you know what Griff says in the early RVB days, like, I'm a girl and blah, 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 the terms of surrender. So it was something like that. And then later on, he said it was because of the hand, like in another journal. So maybe he knows something. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Don't try starting a conspiracy on Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
No, just asking. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it's Illuminati stuff or anything.
That's
Illuminate.
exactly what it sounds like you're saying.
Hey, TJ,
Yes, Luis.
your face is Illuminati.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Well,
You two. Like, really?
I'm just saying.
I
possible.
didn't even know.
Did
didn't know.
I talk about my interesting little research on the next step of my education on this thing yet, or was that before we started the podcast?
I feel like that was before we started, but I'm not actually positive.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I can talk about it again.
If anything,
could.
you just added this whole part out.
Okay, cool. Right, so a bit earlier today, I was looking through like the next step, like after I get this degree, Bachelor of Arts in Professional Musicianship or whatever. That makes it sound really annoying, by the way, like really upper class when it says Professional Musicianship. I hate that. It should just be Bachelor of Arts of Music, Well, I was looking up at the next step. My God, it's expensive to study the Master of Arts at like anywhere. And I looked at the places you can do it in England, and it's pretty much just limited to Oxford and Cambridge. I don't have the money for that. So I looked at USA, and let me just say I didn't have much luck there either, because I've heard the term Ivy League being thrown around in the past and never actually knew what it meant until I looked up and it said the Master of Arts could be studied at the Ivy League universities. Let me just say, when I clicked up, okay, what is the Ivy League? When I clicked into it, I spent a grand total of like 2 seconds on that website, because there is no way I would be able to afford to move to America and study at Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, all these places. Like, Jesus Christ, it costs so much money to study your masters. Fuck that noise.
Yeah, Ivy League is code for I hope you have rich parents. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. I mean, over here, Oxford and Cambridge are like the biggest places. Like, I think they've got some reputation over in America as well. Like, do you guys know about those places?
Yeah, there's actually a Cambridge high school program that's
Wait,
in
what?
the US.
What, to
Yeah,
get
you
into
can
Cambridge here?
No,
I have
but
never
you can
heard
get
of that.
college credit. Like, it's kind of like AP or IB programs.
Ah,
Oh,
But
I've never heard one
Cambridge.
called that.
Yeah,
I know what they are because I had internships with people, someone from St. Andrews, who then filled us in on all with some of the other schools, and then I think the following year we had someone from Oxford. I think it's like Oxford and St. Andrews like switch off back and forth who sends a student for this internship. So
Yeah, this is all reminding me too much of the recent research I've been doing too.
oh yeah.
Because, dude, this part of planning what comes next is stressful. I know how it is.
Like,
So-
So,
I
are you
was
guys
stunned.
required to get your master's?
Not really,
No,
but you would kind of wanna.
I mean, here's the deal. I wanna be able to work as soon as I graduate with what I'm studying, like especially the clinic part of psychology, which is the part I love. But there's also like it would be better, for educational purposes and yada yada yada, if you get stuff like
Doctorate.
masters and all, doctorate and all that shit, and also like I forgot the word, god damn it, but when you specialize in something,
Get like the certification for it. Are you talking about that, or
no, as soon as I graduate, I can already work with pretty much any field of psychology I want. But it's more like being specialized in certain areas and certain things,
okay.
There's a lot of options. And that's kind of the thing. Like, there are so many options and so many ways to go that I don't really know exactly where to go to. And a lot of those involve money. And I'm like, wow. And also the whole thing that I really, really, really want to be able to work and live abroad. So that would be even better if I could do that right after I graduate. But I still don't quite know how to do that because it's not really the sort of information that floats around that easily.
Yeah, definitely. And plus, I think we're slightly different on it as well, because you were just saying you've got many different choices and routes. Mine is just saying it's either study at one of the most expensive places in England for 4 years, or move to America and go to the Ivy Leagues, which I can't do. Fuck that.
Well,
so
I was suggesting...
Well, you probably don't have to go to Ivy Leagues for a master's in art. Those probably aren't your only options.
Yeah,
but
I'd be curious.
From looking around, it is
when
at the
we're not
moment.
Recording anymore, I actually know a number of people who have if you can tell me more about what it is exactly you're trying to do, because it sounded like you're saying professional musician, so you're essentially talking about performance, right?
Yeah, but I think it's under the same category as fine arts, which is odd.
But that's the thing, is it's not. If you're talking about trying to get a master's in performance, that's actually a totally different thing, and that's why you're not getting the search results you want.
Yeah, but in this last year, nothing on my modules anything to do with performance. So it's weird. The position I'm in right now, it's messed up.
I want to figure out what it is you're trying to do, because the school, where I did my undergraduate, the reason I chose it is because I thought I was going to go into music at first, and I actually went to one of the schools that's one of the top music schools in the country, and it's not an Ivy League thing by any means. And I know a number of people who have gone and done their masters or a PhD there and all that stuff. So that's why I'm I kind of want to talk to you more, but I don't want to waste everybody's time on the podcast doing that. So
that'd be fun.
Yep.
Yeah,
I definitely want to research more into it.
I was just thinking there's I don't know how many universities there are in the UK, but there are probably hundreds of colleges and universities spread throughout the US, at least one state school for each state.
Yeah, there's literally 4. I live in a college town. There are 4 colleges within a 20-minute drive of me.
And so, I was saying...
all the frat parties.
Yeah, oh god, frat parties. Don't even get me started on the frat village. Jesus.
Well, and I was saying before, Tyler, the whole thing, come to Brazil, we have some interesting stuff here and related to music. My uni, the place I go to, in my city, we have the music course thing. So maybe, there's a bunch of stuff we could look into. And I did say something about the country, but, I'm gonna... I don't want to get political. I don't want to break my own rules, but
just saying, rules on your own country. That's harsh.
Just saying, we do have some issues, but there are good stuff too.
But every country has issues coming out their ears. There's always a positive, and there's always a ton of negatives, and it's just.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not sure which side. I mean, if there's a balance anymore, but that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, for now, if we want to talk about it later, okay. But yeah, and do you have any idea what part of the music world you want to go to, Tyler?
Definitely. I'm going to be starting a project. Oh god, this is going to be foreshadowing something.
K-pop.
No. This is going to be foreshadowing a project that I might be advertising much later. But
Booty.
I'm trying to get into songwriting. Actually do it as some sort of job rather than doing it for fucking nothing. Well, not for fucking nothing. I shouldn't say it like that. I do like songwriting in general. I find it a lot more entertaining than performing and everything else to do with music. But as you guys may know, getting a stable job in songwriting is definitely not the easiest thing in the world. But at the beginning of this year, I don't know if you guys were kind of like, if you've noticed, but like I dropped a lot of the things that I was doing just so I can make time to plan out this huge project, which I don't want to go into too much detail with because then I don't want to promise something that I can't do. But yeah, something's coming. Winter is coming, and I'm hoping
no, winter
to get
better be
something started.
leaving. Oh my god. I'm so over winter.
I've heard it's been hectic over there with blizzards up in the north.
It's been insane. Yesterday it was negative 15 degrees, negative 15 Fahrenheit, and that's without the wind chill.
Fuck.
That was just the straight up temperature.
That's messed up. Like,
yeah, it was. I think it was negative 30 with the wind chill. And that's
Wow.
Fahrenheit, but to put it in perspective for you, that is the one point where Fahrenheit and Celsius are the same thing. It's like negative 32 is where they're the same. So, there you go. That tells you, no matter what scale you use, you now know how cold it was.
And I know it's not much to all of you guys experiencing the blizzards, but it was 34, I think, yesterday. But the thing is, everybody keeps making jokes about, I'm moving to Florida. Florida's not really much better.
No, but
like
but,
right
but it
now,
is much better. Like literally, it was.
Okay, it's not better. It's not better if you're a Floridian because we have thin blood.
It was 30 degrees warmer there, even if it was 15 there. Like I know people were like in Tennessee and whatever, it was like 15, and they're like, it's so cold. I'm like, I know it's cold for you. Like it's literally 30 degrees warmer there than it is here right now.
yeah, it's summer over there in comparison to here.
Yeah, like I was actually down in Austin for a couple days in January, and as I was arriving, people were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, it's gotten really chilly here recently." I'm like, "It is literally 60 degrees warmer here." I'm like, "I just left 0. I'm wearing one jacket. There's another one in my backpack that I had to wear when I got on the planes today." I'm like, "I'm gonna put on shorts and go for a run outside. Like this is beautiful. What are you talking about?"
I have to admit, it's weird when you see that in your like country as well. Like when I was walking around in Bristol during winter, like only like like a month ago. Jesus Christ, I'm acting like it was a year ago. But there was these people that came from Norway, and they were wearing like shorts, slim like V-neck bloody shirts, and that's it. And everyone else was just covered in coats and jackets. It was just the weirdest thing, walking by a bunch of people from Norway. The only reason why I knew this is because it was on their shirt and stuff, and like they were traveling with bags that had like the Norwegian flag on it, and it was like summer to them, and I was like, it's minus at the moment in Celsius. How the fuck are you guys walking around like this?
Yeah, I saw a guy walking his dog, I think, yesterday. He was just walking slowly, it's like 30 degrees out, and he's got shorts and a short sleeve shirt, and he just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
That's in Fahrenheit,
wait.
right?
I'm so excited. It's supposed to be 30 later this week, and I've like never been that excited for it to be 30 degrees.
Just to verify as well, Gaff sent me a message, I think 2 or 3 days ago. Yeah, it was minus 40. Oh, sorry, not minus
God.
40. 14 in Ohio at the
But
time.
still.
Celsius, by the way. I keep on getting confused with that. You guys work in Fahrenheit and then you change it to Celsius for me, and I'm like, wait.
Listen, we're trying to be nice, but then it just makes it more confusing.
Yeah.
It's like trying to talk about time zones, and somebody's like, okay, we're going to talk at,
That's
like,
the worst.
this time, like, Eastern time. And I try to... I like to talk to people that live in Seattle, and so we will switch back and forth when we're talking about like your time and my time and all that stuff, and then eventually we get confused, and then no one knows what's happening.
And then you bring in people from Brazil and England, and then daylight savings happens in different places at different times, and it's like,
I don't understand why daylight savings happens at I think it was President Bush that changed it for us, that the U.S. changes now at a different time than the rest of the friggin' world. That was the stupidest thing that could have happened. I was like, now nobody knows what's happening. We're all just screwed.
Yeah. I think there's
mine
a time...
and tomorrow, yes.
Oh yeah, yours changes soon, doesn't it? That's
Yeah,
gonna
either
confuse the fuck out
tomorrow
of
or
us.
the day after tomorrow. They tell us on the television like, oh, like tomorrow or the day after tomorrow at midnight, set your clock an hour back because daylight savings are over. And then we all like cheer.
The funny thing is, I always think, oh god, wouldn't it be so much easier if we had like a universal clock? And then I sit there and go, actually, I think we do.
Yeah.
It's just that it's now so fucking complicated that if you try organising stuff online and everyone's from different countries, it's like, oh, I don't know what time it is over there.
Yeah.
Here's a website with the time it is over here. Compare it to that.
Yeah.
Sake.
I like there's somebody I did some recording with at one point, and they try to make it easy, and they just say we're going to record at this time GMT.
Oh, that's the worst.
But see,
because they're wrong as well sometimes.
Well, that's the thing, is it's like, okay, it's going to be this time GMT, and it's like, okay, that's great. So now I got to figure out who's on daylight savings right now and who's not, and like, it's like, it still ends up being complicated.
I remember when I was organising with other people from England, like what time we were doing something, and they used GMT when it was technically BST over here, like the British summertime. So they said, oh, GMT, which was technically at the time GMT +1. And I was just sitting there like, oh my god, no wonder why they didn't turn up, because we told them the wrong fucking time.
Yeah.
You know? Time is complicated.
Yes, it is. It shouldn't be, but it is.
Can we just set the time to be like, okay, it's midnight over here, so that means everywhere else in different time zones, you stick to a certain hour, and that is it.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why it's there, but it just makes things complicated now when you do stuff online.
Yeah, and I think, like, even for, like, daylight, if we're gonna have different times, that makes sense. It's like, but have daylight savings happen the same everywhere?
Yeah.
And instead of being like, it changes at 2 o'clock for you, you know, it always changes at everyone's respective 2 o'clock. It's like, no. As soon as it changes for one country, it changes for everybody all at the same time. Like, just do that. So that way I don't have to be like, okay, well, right now, it's I'm GMT -5 usually. But there's a 2-week period where it's like -4. And it's like, no, that's...
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about as well. It's like, there's 4 hours gap for like 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a 2-week difference between when we switch daylight savings and when everybody else switches daylight savings. I can never remember what order it goes in, but yeah, we end up being -4 for a while instead of -5.
That's fun. Like, I do like that, because I get an hour longer with the Americans.
Yeah.
Louise, by the way, are you talking? Because your button's lighting up, and I can't actually hear you. Is anyone else...
Hey, I'm back. Here's the thing. My headphones... What?
Okay, sorry. You were explaining it. I was like, what?
Yeah, my headphones have this kind of remote control thing that's plugged in the cord, so it's not really remote control, but anyway. And then there's a button that deactivates the microphone. And sometimes I hit it by accident. So,
you were talking through that. And...
Yes. So here's what I said. If we could get a single daylight savings time, that would be great.
I agree, definitely.
Well, and you were saying like everyone stick to the same time. Tyler, that sounds like such an imperial thing to say.
No, like I didn't mean it as in everyone stick to the exact same time.
Right.
I meant like in certain time zones, they keep to that certain time zone's difference. So if you're in a place where it should be -5 GMT or whatever it is, then it stays that way throughout the year. But I understand why daylight savings is important, because you get brighter days if you're a farmer and stuff like that, and so many other reasons too. But if you're gonna have daylight savings, just have it at the same fucking time. It's so complicated.
Yeah.
It makes it a pain.
And it's really awesome too.
And do it.
There's like particular parts of the U.S. that don't recognize daylight savings.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be allowed to do that. Like, I think it's like Hawaii and Arizona. I don't even know if it's all of Arizona. I think it's just parts of Arizona where they don't do daylight savings. So, like, literally, I could be on, like, one side of the street and it could be 3 o'clock, and I could go to the other side of the street and it could be 2 o'clock, because that group doesn't use daylight savings, but these people do. And I'm like, that's not cool. That's
So-
not
Actually-
cool.
So could I just like say for one of my classes that
I was
have
just about to
at,
say the
9
same
in the
thing.
morning and be like, yeah, I'm recognizing a different daylight savings. Can I come in an hour later?
There
Not
we
even-
go. I think you should try that, and you should let us all know how it works out.
TJ, even better, like you got a deadline for an essay, but you send it to them from Arizona. So it's
There we go.
like, I sent it an hour on time. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't miss any deadlines.
It's 9 o'clock somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I hate that. Looking at the deadlines for all my coursework that's coming up, like, I shit you not, it's like a pincer movement. It's on my, like, timetable. I printed off, like, a graph of when they're all coming in.
And
and it's
all
like...
end at like the same time.
Yeah, but it's like, there's one, and then there's two on the same week, and then there's, like, three all together, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I hardly ever get any homework from any of my classes. Well,
And then they all
I'll get
appear.
some. Yeah, and then this upcoming week is the last week. It's basically midterm week. You know, halfway
Oh, yeah.
through the semester. So I have 3 tests and 2 papers due next week.
I
Fuck.
didn't even properly start my my semester.
Oh, that's right, because in December, your last technical school year ended, right? Because you were studying like a madman in December and November and that.
Yeah, because here's
You
the
guys
deal.
do school years right, because it ends
Yeah,
with the year.
pretty much. Yes,
That would make
And
so much more sense.
it's much easier. I'll
Would be
tell you
nice.
that. Like I was looking for some places because the exchange program I tried out for, and I gotta say it's really confusing. The whole thing of the the mid-year starts at the beginning of the year, and the beginning of the school year starts at the middle of the normal year. It's guys, how do you do that? Why
I
do you
just
do
think
that?
about
I just like we've kind of just, well, I don't know how it works in England, but at least the way I see it is I've just been like trained to do it. Like I'm so used to it because I've had to live with that sort of setup for
yeah.
12, at least 13 school years.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, that's kind of just how it is to me. Like I've got it segmented in my head. Like I'm pretty sure for maybe, you know, elementary and middle school, I didn't even realize the passage of time the normal way people do. I wouldn't look at it as, you know, December is the end of the year and January is the first month. I would look at it as the school year and then the summer. That's
Yeah.
how I
Yes.
distinguished years. I didn't pay attention to the actual calendar.
Yeah, I think that's it too. It's like, on the one hand, like, if you look at it just on a calendar, yeah, the U.S. school years are really dumb. It's like, why are they set up like that? But on the other hand, it's like, I would rather have my free time be when it's warm and pleasant out than it's like, okay, the school year's over. Here's your 2-month break. There's 5 feet of snow on the ground and it's below 0. Go outside and have fun.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
You enjoyed
looking
it.
looking
yourselves.
from that perspective, it does make sense.
And one way that we keep track of it over here, especially in uni, we have terms of 10. Like 10 weeks would be a term. And our year is 3 terms, so it's just 30 weeks. So it's not that hard to keep track of it. We just call it, like, right now we're in, actually we're in a grey area because it's a weekend, but we just left week 16. So we're like halfway through our year now.
Yeah, like here we go with semesters. So it's,
I think they're the same as terms, right?
So,
Oh,
so
yeah.
terms are like semesters
a-
are a half a year. So a semester is 15 weeks because you have 3 terms of 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, about that.
it works like that.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask if any of you guys were on the like. I think one of the things it's called is like a trimester schedule.
Yep.
I think-
Yeah. It tends to be if you have the three 10-week terms, that's a trimester. Semesters are like the 2 15-week terms. I actually used to be at school where we had quarters. We had 4 terms in a year. Because we actually went to school for 32 weeks, so we would have 4 terms of 8 weeks.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's like high school.
I love how I say that's cool, and you're like, no.
Tyler,
Oh,
you're
like, yeah,
yours.
it's super cool to have an extra 2 weeks of school.
Would you
Woohoo!
have different different classes for each quarter?
And it really depends. So I moved around a lot growing up, and every school, no, the schools in the U.S. aren't standard. So I was at one school where you had the same classes every day for a term or for a semester, depending on like what the class was. I went to a school where you did 4 classes a day, but you had A days and B days, and they alternated, and you had one set of classes you went to on A days and one set of classes you went to on B days.
Is this like college?
So that was more like it was more like
in
then it was more like collegey like that, but that was in a middle school. Like that was like when I was in 6th grade. So one of the high schools I ended up going to did 8 classes in a day, and you had all of those classes every day for a semester. They did them in semesters, but like science class went year round, so that one was full year. History was half a year, so you would do that for 2 terms, and then that spot opened up your next semester, so you could put another class there. Or like gym class was just 1 term because they're like 8 weeks of running around, that's enough for anybody, and then you could pick other stuff to put in there. So like you had to actually like plan out how you were gonna like pick your high school classes based on how many terms a class ran. It was a really ridiculous confusing exercise in planning and responsibility, because it's like, okay, well, I want to take these things, and here's the order I have to take them in, and here's the order I have to take them in because of up to 8, and it was just, it was just nuts.
Mine
you would have to swap them out.
A bit like the A and B days, at least my high school was.
Yeah.
The way it worked for middle school was I had 2 years where it was just we had the same classes all year, and we would just go through. We would have 7 classes a day, so we would have every class all year, 5 days a week, 7 classes a day. That was 6th and 7th grade, and then 8th grade, my school district passed a new thing where they changed it to what we called block scheduling.
Yep, that's what we called it, block scheduling.
They weren't periods anymore; they were blocks, and we had 4 classes a day, and it didn't rotate to A and B days. They called them even and odd days. So, like, the first day of the week, you had first, third, and second. Wait, shit.
It sounds really confusing now.
I should remember this more, because this was, like, 5 years of my life, but for some reason it's escaping me completely.
Just try to block out those terrible memories.
Yeah, but basically, so you had even and odd days, and then, so, like, the first week of school, you would have first period, 3rd period, 5th period, and then 7th period on the first day of school. So that would be your odd day. And then 2nd day of school, which would be a Tuesday, you would have 2nd period, 4th period, 6th period, and 8th period on that Tuesday. And then, so then the next week of school, because it would end on an odd day, the first Monday of the 2nd week of school would be an even day.
Right.
And then you would rotate like that.
Yep. Wow. Yep, that's exactly what we had.
Okay, I confused myself, because I was thinking while I was saying it at first, I'm like, wait, they didn't do Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's not right. Yeah. I was thinking Tuesdays and Thursdays were like the 2nd and the 4th day of the week.
I'm just looking at my timetable now, like I have it pinned against my wall for uni, and I sit back and I think to myself, my God, how did I go to, like, when I was in secondary school, like 6 classes every day, and now I look at my timetables now and I only have like 5 modules that I have to do, they call them, but it's essentially like 5 classes in the week. That's it.
But you have more work?
They're spaced out, yeah, but they are so much more work. Like, secondary school, it was like you have to attend these like 5 or 6 classes depending on what the day was, because I think Friday was different for some weird reason, because no one used to focus on the Friday.
Friday classes suck.
Yeah. But I'm looking up at it now and I'm like, I remember back when my timetable used to be full. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I get Mondays off, I get Thursdays off. On Wednesday, I only have 1 lecture. And it's only for an hour and a half. But my lord, there's a lot of work that you have to do in that lecture.
3 days for these.
It's for my professional project, that lecture as well, which means I have to take that and then leave and immediately start working on something.
Yeah. You know, Tyler, we are going through pretty much the same thing again.
Yeah, we are.
You know, because here's the deal. I have one obligatory class, like, that everyone in my class has to take.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 other classes that are tied to my internships. And they're pretty much like, they were kind of like training and some info, theory and stuff. And so technically, I have a lot of spare time. But
You don't
all
really.
that spare time, I don't, because all that spare time has to be filled with supervisions and taking patients and, doing homework and all the assigned projects.
And reading through literature, researching.
Yeah, reading and also working on publishing my research and all that. So, dude, it's gonna be a very busy year.
Yeah, like to give some people insight, like my family, for example, they like I think my older sister went to university, but she never went to do anything near the same as me because I'm doing something with art, well, music, whatever. And I've explained it to my brothers in the past, and I've been like, this is what I have to do. I've got 5 sessions of this. And they look at the timetable, which I got, and they're like, oh, so it doesn't look like that much. You got ages off. And it's like, yeah, okay. You do the same as me and then say that you get a lot of time off because you don't. That's the time you actually have to be at your uni. When you're at home, suddenly you're like, oh crap, now I actually have to look up the stuff we were taught in that lecture and actually understand it. Like when you got, like, a good example would be analytical perspectives, where we have to start talking about postmodern artists and deconstruction and pseudo-individualism. Not only do you have to understand what those terms mean, you actually have to go and find, like, particular people that were studying it and talking about it, like Adorno for pseudo-individualism, which I don't like Adorno. There's something about him that I don't like. But he keeps on popping up in my classes, like just the stuff that he used to talk about in like the 20s, which
is
soon
he
to be
usually
again.
late for class and then your teacher gives him a stern look?
No, like Adorno's just like this guy that had a
I know.
comment on everything.
I'm just messing with you.
But like I get his points, but my lord, it's like, wow, I don't agree with you at face value. And then I look into like when he said it and where he was at the time, and I was like, oh yeah, socially, yeah, I would probably agree with you at that point. I don't know. We started talking about my classes. This is a bad idea. This is what I'm trying to get away from.
And you know how we can get away from that? Questions.
Say questions.
Wait. There's something that we haven't talked about yet.
Oh,
What?
Rooster Teeth today, because as
oh
our listeners
yes!
know,
Holy shit! How did we forget about that?
Yeah.
as our listeners know, we released this podcast a week after we recorded. So today, Rooster Teeth released the first teaser trailer for Lazer Team.
Yay!
Cue
Indeed.
raucous applause.
And that was one fucking awesome trailer.
No, you have to be clear. It wasn't a trailer. It was a teaser. The
Teaser
the
trailer.
Yes.
trailer
Yes, they were
comes out
teasing
at
it.
South by Southwest in March.
You know what?
Oh,
I just
yeah,
realized
it's a
they missed a perfect
teaser.
opportunity for something in that trailer.
Yes, what?
They missed a
Tease
perfect
it.
opportunity for Gavin to say tease it.
Tease.
Oh,
I'm glad
damn.
they know, because here's the thing: is like this is something that's being put on by Rooster Teeth, but they're trying to maintain a separation. That Lazer Team is a separate project than other
Yeah,
Rooster Teeth
I
productions.
guess
and
so.
and if
Oh, yeah,
they want,
okay.
if they want us to believe that these people are not Gavin as we know him in Let's Plays and Bernie as we know him on the podcast, they can't create that association by having him make a
Yeah.
tease it joke or anything like that.
I don't
Well,
want to see
first of
any
all-
references turn up, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, like
I want to see
there will
Yeah.
be. They've already said there's going to be things in there that will be, callbacks to Rooster Teeth content, and like things for that people who are Rooster Teeth fans will see that and go, oh yeah, like that's a thing. But
I've already seen one reference.
yeah.
There was a Rooster Teeth podcast story, I don't know when, but it was ages ago, where they talked about people putting based on a true story at the beginning of stories
Yes.
that aren't actually true.
Yeah.
Yes. And it flashed up for like 2 seconds, didn't it? And I was like, wait a minute, what?
But I also think, like, it's for them to put that in front of Lazer Team. Them saying that is not entirely false, because the premise of it with that whole signal coming in from, you know, that mystery signal or whatever, that's a thing that actually happened. It's just their interpretation of what followed that is just totally made up.
Yeah, it's
like,
based on a true story.
It was like a big deal. So like there is some truth to it. So like it doesn't, when you say something's based on a true story, if you want to call that true, all it has to be is just some part of the premise has to be true. And that part of the premise is true. It's just the rest of it is a total bullshit. But
like the film 21, because that was based on a true story. That was MIT or something, like math students.
Oh yeah, like the
absolutely
card counting thing,
yeah. They crippled casinos. Like how they did it, like, it still astounds me. I know it's card counting, but like, wow, that was the best class to be in by the sound of it. But it was based on a true story, and I think the person that was actually involved in that, because he plays poker, like, because you can't really cheat at that, I think he's gone on record saying, yeah, like, none of that stuff would happen. Like, he was involved with it.
Yeah, you could say it's based on a true story, so it's like, you can exaggerate the snot out of the story.
Yeah, it was so Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly.
In the movie.
Like, if it was that exciting, we all would have known more about it before it was a movie. So
yeah, we would have known about that time the aliens tried to invade Earth before Rooster Teeth made the movie about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know if I would call that like a callback to like the podcast or anything. I think that's just like a choice that they would have made just because.
It did make me laugh.
I like
it was so nuts.
I think they will like do something that us as longtime fans can recognize, you know, but the people who are watching will also get the same enjoyment, and they won't necessarily have to know, you know, background stuff.
That's kind of one of the things they've been talking about ever since they started releasing it, was that it was going to be a production, you know, for people that weren't necessarily Rooster Teeth fans.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So they aren't going to like overload it with references.
Yeah,
but
I expect we'll see a lot of stuff like in the background, kind of like things that are happening
like a
on
cow.
the forefront, where maybe you don't notice it the first time you're watching the movie. There's probably going to be some stuff that you notice, but I fully expect this to be the kind of experience where you watch it with a bunch of friends, and you'll be like, oh, it was really funny how they snuck this in there, and most of the group is going to go, wait, what? And you're all going to notice different small little callback things. And then you're going to watch it a second time, and you're going to be looking for all the Rooster Teeth stuff. And I think there's going to be more in there than you expect, but it's also going to be done in that kind of way that you don't expect it to be there because you don't notice it until you think to go look for it.
Yeah, there's going to be a cow called
Edgar. How they're actually planning on doing the release of the movie.
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll say more about it coming up. I know that they've talked about, they keep saying that they're trying to work on distribution. What I'm hoping is, like, when they premiered the last season of RWBY, they did all the events and stuff like at various Alamo Draft House locations across the country. I'm hoping at the very least they have something set up with the Alamo.
Well, that's good for people who have an Alamo near them.
Yeah, which, because there's one like really close to me, which would be great. I don't know why we magically have one here, but it showed up like a little over a year ago, and it makes me super happy. But yeah, like nice. I expect that they'll probably have something set up with Alamo at the very least, but I would like to think it will have some kind of more expanded limited release. But I don't think they'll be able to get like a full release like you would see for, you know. For a big movie, but I'm hoping they're able to get it.
Some sort of producer.
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll be able to get it into some kind of at least limited release, so that way a lot of people will have some kind of reasonable chance to be able.
Yeah, or if they could have some sort of, you know, distribution like online or something like that. I'd pay for it.
I specifically don't think they will do that because at that point, then what was the point of backers buying a digital copy and, you know, things like that. So if it's just going to be a digital release kind of thing. So
I'm not saying digital entirely, because they've always released DVDs as well too, and they'll probably have, you know, the like they'll have a I can't think of what it's called, like, you know, a first screening at an actual movie theater. That will no doubt happen, and they could still do like a limited, you know, movie theater release. But I hope that at least eventually, soon enough after the release of the movie, that some of us who, you know, can't get to one of those movie theaters that will luckily have it, will be able to see the movie somehow.
I'm sure that would be like
that's
real
the thing
films.
Like, they've already said they've got the Ds and Blu-rays and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think they're trying to treat this like a movie, which I think is a good idea. Because the more they blur that line, I think they're trying to unblur the line at this point. Like, they kind of blurred the line between online content and physical content. But if you're gonna do something like a movie and you want to do more in the future and you want people to fund you for it, like not like crowdsource funding, but like people who make movies, you want them to fund it. There's gonna have to be that definition. And I think if they do, they default to releasing it the same way they release the rest of their content, I think they have run the risk of kind of damaging that perception get the support later.
I never expected them to release it for free at all. I meant buy it off of iTunes
about for free. If they do it for free, they're screwed. But no, I'm saying there is a stigma against online content when you're talking about the big Hollywood types. So
there's industry standards.
In everything. Exactly. Think about this. I mean, when Sony pulled The Interview, they fell back to doing a digital release. That was their fallback plan. So, you've already said, it's already been established that is the second-rate way to release a movie. So why would they purposely put themselves in a second-rate position where they're saying, well, this is our goal, is to use the backup plan that other movies use. If you want people to take you seriously, you can't have everyone else's backup plan be your primary.
Definitely.
I completely agree. They haven't said anything about the average people who are fans of Rooster Teeth who do want to see the movie. They've only said that, they've confirmed that people who backed Lazer Team and, they will get DVDs and they will get early access and screening and parts in the movie and whatnot. But I'm talking about, the people like me who didn't have money at the time to be a backer.
Yeah.
I don't have an Alamo near me.
Me neither.
Yeah. I think part of the issue is that there's, and I'm not trying to say this is anything negative about anybody, and sometimes I'm terrible with words, and I'm afraid this is going to be one of those times. And so if you're I'm offended, that's
shut
not
up.
What
your
I
opinion
meant.
Is wrong, and you should feel wrong.
Yeah. Okay. But I think there is an issue with people in the Rooster Teeth community where and I see this happen for RTX for people who aren't going to be at RTX, and they're like, well, you're going to stream everything and put everything on YouTube, right? And it's there is a reason that this is something that people had to pay for. You've paid for the privilege of seeing panels live and seeing the center stage and seeing all of that stuff. So there's kind of a sense of entitlement in the Rooster Teeth community. And it's well, I support this company all the time. I watch all their content, so I should be able to see everything.
I don't think it's just for Rooster Teeth though. The internet's made people very entitled.
I've always noticed there's an extra special quality to the entitlement, and it's partially because I see a lot more of it now that I'm on the moderator side, the demands that people make, because I have a red tag next to my name, people assume everyone with a red tag is a staff member. I'm not a staff member. I don't work for Rooster Teeth.
Hey Jen, how do I get a job at Rooster Teeth?
I just as soon as I figure it out and I get hired, I will let you know. But it's I don't know anything extra. I don't have any extra pull with anybody. I don't know anything, but there's still people who will send some of us messages making demands of stuff that should be put on YouTube, and the number of people who lost their minds over the fact that Let's Play Live is not going to be posted on YouTube later, and that they didn't stream it, and people lost their minds over that. It's and I get it. It sucks if you are a Rooster Teeth fan who really wants to see Lazer Team, who's in a place where they're not doing a release. I get that. It's I want to see this thing, but it's not any different than any other kind of indie film where it only gets released in certain places and the rest of everyone else has to wait until it's available on Netflix or on DVD or something like that. It's in the same category, but as a Rooster Teeth fan, you're well, as a Rooster Teeth fan, I deserve to see this thing. And again, it becomes that issue of definition for the industry standard and them trying to be taken seriously in that industry. I'm not saying they won't do it, but I'm saying, I'm not going to be surprised if it's something where it's here's what our distribution deal is, here's the people who have the opportunity to see it in a theater. If you can't see it in a theater, I'm sorry, but it will be coming on DVD and you can see it then. It's not going to surprise me if that's the direction it goes for that reason.
Yeah, I'm not even really concerned about seeing it in theaters. The only thing I'm concerned about is the few people who did pay for it, out of that group of people who did pay for it, there's going to be like the 1 or 2 assholes that have to go and like, you know, post spoilers to the whole thing like 3 weeks before
Here's
it's
how the
released on
movie
DVD.
ends.
Yeah.
But that's
Like,
also
that's
the
what I'm worried about.
That's what happens with every movie, though. There's always going to be those assholes. The nice thing that if that happens on the Rooster Teeth site, you have people like me who can go and take that shit down.
Kick their ass.
So I'm saying it right now. If the movie starts being shown to people after premieres, after, you know, things where it is reasonable to say they shouldn't be putting spoilers out there because there is a large population that won't have access to it yet, let a moderator know, let an admin know. And we will at the very least put spoiler tags over it if they haven't done that yet. If they haven't spoiler tagged it themselves. And depending on what they're putting up, we might take it down. So tell people about that. Because you don't want people to be assholes if you can help it. But there are going to be assholes who do it. So,
Yeah.
And that's just a problem for any movie. It's not going to be special to a special issue just to Lazer Team.
Just a random tangent as well. Because this makes me laugh, and I've seen this pop up with many YouTubers that I follow as well. Have you heard the selling out comment from anyone about this? Like, oh, Rooster Teeth is selling out. I sat back.
Yeah.
It must have been
I
a
heard
troll
that during
comment.
full screen, but
Yeah,
I
especially
was just
during full
like,
screen.
I was like, you know what? I don't think nowadays people can sell out. Because let me just give you some insight on how difficult it is to literally have a job, with Rooster Teeth. A lot of people are like, oh, they're massive, they're celebrities or whatever. Truth be told, if you want to say, oh, they sold out, they technically sold out the second they started charging for content they worked really hard on. Selling out nowadays is not a bad thing with how the industries have been going. Music is shot. The music industry is really fucked. But I see a musician do something different, and they're like, oh, they're selling out. And I'm like, no, the second they sold their CD to you, it was probably a selling out moment as well. But if they're doing something to try and keep themselves in the industry, then that's not selling out the same way as it used to be in the past. It's weird.
It definitely means something different now than it used to, and so I think people overuse the phrase where it's a really saturated industry. Even online content at this point is a kind of a really saturated thing. You have all these huge YouTubers, and you have companies like Rooster Teeth and Penny Arcade and all that stuff, and Mega 64, and it's
they have their own t-shirts that's selling out. It's no, it's not.
It's sometimes it's if you have someone that is able to help you advance your position like that, you need to stay on top of it. So if you have someone that it's a company that you can go to that will help you with your advertising and your marketing and all that kind of stuff, at that point, the full screen thing, that's not selling out. This is what we need to do to maintain ourselves as Rooster Teeth as you know it, because
otherwise there would be no Rooster Teeth at all.
The stuff that worked for supporting themselves in the past is not going to keep working because this is becoming a really competitive media.
Oh yeah, online is harsh as well because just everyone that has access to the internet can challenge you in any industry. Producers and stuff like that. If you're trying to be a musician or a producer, fucking anyone that has Logic or Pro Tools or any form of audio editing software can do a pretty good job of producing. So you have to be special or really find some way to get into the industry. I don't want to say cheekily because it still requires a lot of work. But before I wrap up that point, I would just like to make one final statement about what selling up is and what it is nowadays, Selling out, in the past, let's say in the 90s, if you were a musician, because that was the industry, that's the industry that I'm in, if your music was in an advert or a commercial, you were seen as selling out. Nowadays, look at adverts, people's music is getting discovered through fucking adverts. That's where they're making their big break nowadays.
You mean Paul McCartney?
Well...
Getting discovered by Kanye.
Paul McCartney, who's a world-renowned musician. I'm thinking more of Eddie, what's her name? Ellie Goulding. I don't know if you heard of her in America. I don't know if she's a name, but she got insanely popular.
I don't know the name.
Like over here, her music were in like adverts and stuff. It essentially made her career. And in the past, that would be considered as selling out, and that would ruin your image in the industry. But nowadays, there's no thing as selling out. It doesn't exist.
I feel like the difference for selling, whether something's actually selling out, I think it's the difference between getting yourself discovered and trying to make yourself stay relevant. Yeah. I think that's the thing. Like the Paul McCartney thing, it's like that's desperately trying to like hold on to what you had. But for somebody like being discovered, or Rooster Teeth who's trying to expand and things like that, I don't think it's selling out at that point. I think it's selling out when it's like, we're losing everybody. What do we do? And make decisions based on that. That's the point where for me, I feel like that's what selling out is. It's like, we can't do it. We just can't do it. Just put our stuff everywhere. Here, shove my music on your iPhone, your Apple products, completely unwarranted. Here, it's free. Just take it. Cough. You too. Cough. So it's like, I think.
Oh yeah.
that's where you've sold out. Where it's like that's your only option to try to retain the audience you've built. When you're no longer worried about expanding your audience and it's just trying to keep what you have, then you've sold out.
It's weird as well because then it's not actually selling stuff. Yeah. Is it like it's YouTube? So it's like we'll give you our music, and it's like. We don't want it's like it's not really selling out, but it's like here, take it, and it's like
take it, please.
Honestly,
it's like pandering.
Honestly, in the end, it really just comes down to people just being afraid of any sort of change whatsoever. Like
change as well. Like Game Grumps.
People just want everything to stay the status quo, just stay the same. But then what they don't realize is if everything stayed the same, they would get bored with Rooster Teeth in like a year. And then they'd be like, "Oh, your stuff has gone downhill since this point in the past." But like, people will just bitch about anything. That's what it boils down to. And
have you seen the comments on any Game Grumps video? Who's actually been doing like, from what I can see, really good developments and really interesting ideas that are cool. And people are like, "Oh, this was so much better a year ago," and I was just like, Really? It's pretty much exactly the same with more content. You're acting like things have changed and that's gone away. They haven't changed, they've added stuff. You should be happy. But nope.
I can't say I have because I don't really follow Game Grumps, but it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Wow. We're having a go at a few people that would probably be angry at us. Like, if they, like... I think it's YouTube's comment system. But like, if we said this to them directly, they would be mad at us. But
in a couple months, people are just going to be used to it. They aren't going to care. Like, they only care because it's changing, and then once they get used to the change, they won't even really realize that they're mad anymore.
And then they go, "Oh, that was a good idea," but they don't. I'm sure we've all
felt that way in the past, where things were changing, we weren't used to it, we didn't like it, and then we just got used to it.
Yeah.
Like, I was a little nervous when Rooster Teeth was, quote-unquote, selling out to full screen. But, like, once I read the journal where Matt explained, they weren't... Like, the only thing most people are just concerned about change. I was concerned about them losing their creative integrity. But when they said nothing would be affected, I'm like, I trust you guys. You guys know what you're doing.
Yeah, I was only afraid they, like, with the full screen acquisition and all that, they would start getting censored. So once they said like, no, that's not changing, and they're not gonna, put their fingers on the community aspect of the company and decide and all that, they're like, okay. I just, full screen is like a multi-million or billion or whatever the fuck. It's a big company. I don't know, it's a fucking long shot, but I kind of wish we could have screenings of Lazer Team here in Brazil. But, I mean, can dream.
Yeah, man can dream. We're probably not even going to get them in England.
Oh, come on, it's far easier that you guys are going to get that in England.
You're directly underneath them.
You're directly across the ocean from them.
Yeah, we're 5,000 odd miles away.
Yeah,
Do you know how far Brazil is from?
Yeah, dude, it's
actually pretty far.
But
I'm gonna risk saying.
Oh yes, we're going to all go through Mexico and Central America to get to Luis.
You don't have to swim to get that now, do you?
Well, yeah, you guys can take a long drive. I'm gonna risk saying that the distance is greater
You just have to risk
for it
getting
to
into,
go
like,
from
a
the
knife
USA
fight with
to
a couple
Brazil, but I
hundred drug
could be
dealers.
mistaken.
No
I don't
offense
know.
to Central. No offense to Central America.
No,
You
he meant
suck,
all the
TJ.
offense. Everyone be offended.
TJ, you suck so much.
And
So,
that was my racist joke for the podcast.
Yeah, before we can say TJ is a racist pig, which he's not. He's just misguided. Just kidding, TJ.
Shut the fuck up.
TJ is okay. Let's do some questions.
Sure.
So
I was actually trying to figure out how far away Brazil was, but now I'm going to give up on that.
It's far, trust me. The shipping stuff here, it costs like your soul, your firstborn, and all your goats.
No, not the goats.
Yeah, not the goats. Questions.
Woo. I love there's always like a delay because you want someone to fucking comment on the questions theme.
Not really, I'm just waiting for the praise. But I know you guys are all thinking like, wow, that was fantastic.
You're never going to get any.
I'm so buying Luis a drink when I meet him because of the questions theme. I know that's why.
I'll buy you a drink.
Thank you, TJ.
It may or may not have like headlight fluid in it or something.
Or poison. A free drink. Oh well. This question was sent by Nick Gons. We're almost done with Nick's questions. There's just 2 counting with this one.
Nick sends
more
more.
catch up on the podcast, get to this, and post questions for next week.
Maybe. Hey Nick, we need more questions from you. So he asks, why do they call it chili if it's hot?
Is he talking? No, how did he spell it? Is he talking about the soup or is he talking about the country?
The soup.
Okay, I just want to make sure before I started coming up with something. Because you eat it when it's chilly out. You eat it when it's cold out. You don't eat chili in the summer.
Wow.
Well.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
I have.
Do you know why would you eat a hot soup as something that's heavy in the summer?
For the same reason you eat anything else hot in the summer? Because you're hungry
I
and
eat
hot
ice
food
cream
tastes
in
better
winter.
than cold food?
You guys are weird.
Don't you eat ice cream in the winter?
No.
I've eaten ice cream in the winter.
Exactly.
But to be fair, most winters in Florida are pretty, neutral.
Maybe I'm weird. I still eat cornettos over here, even if it is the winter in England, because they're delicious.
And I live in Tatooine.
Tatooine? Where there's 2 suns and desert?
Exactly.
What's winter on
and
Tatooine like?
Huts everywhere.
Isn't it just... Yeah, I'm going to steal the other 2 answers that were given from TJ and Zelda there. Just...
Identity
eat chili because it's chili.
No. I mean, idea theft. Wrong kind of theft.
I'm gonna say it's because of aliens.
To be honest, that is probably true. I don't know. Was there actually a reason why it was called chili? Like, is there actually like some person discovered it and made an ingredient or the recipes, and his name was chili?
It could be like, the first time they made it, it was like they took... Maybe it's something actually from Chile?
I think it's something out of Chile.
I don't know.
No.
Probably not.
I really don't think
it could be something like, French fries.
It's because of the pepper, isn't it?
Who named the pepper? Was it someone called Bob Chili? And then he was like, yeah, this pepper's going to be known as chili. I don't know.
Yeah, the guy was all like, what's this thing?
It's cold outside.
You know what?
I'm
Fuck it. I'm going to bite it. Then he bites it, and he starts screaming in pain, and people go like, hey, what's that? And they go like, oh, that's just chili. And then they think,
the first guy who discovered spicy
food...
Like, seriously, how do you think the first guy who discovered spicy food... How do you think that whole conversation went down?
I would love to know how he reacted when he found out it was spicy. He's like, oh, this looks nice. Fuck me!
Like, okay, today, kids, we're just gonna go around grabbing random shit off trees. You guys ready?
Oh, God. No, that would be bad.
2 kids down, 25 kids to go. Okay. Oh, you found something that isn't poisonous. Okay, give it a bite. And it's spicy.
You would think it would be poisonous at first when it's incredibly spicy as well.
It's like,
and
oh,
you've
hey,
never experienced it before.
Actually, I wonder if there was like some weird thing where like, they thought he was possessed by demons or something, and then they murdered him.
The past was a funny time.
Well, this just took a really dark turn. Okay.
Yeah. Witchcraft, suddenly.
I'm not exactly on my A game this podcast.
I'm giving them a part of my B game, B minus.
More like the
best.
Z game.
Wow.
Just kidding.
Okay, I guess we need to wrap it up quickly.
Oh yeah. You got time for one more, Jen?
Yeah, I got time for one more.
All right then. So this one was sent by Sun88P, and he asks, "What's the best way to ask someone out?"
That is a fucking hard question to answer.
I know, I have a great answer for this.
Oh.
Just fucking do it. Just do it. Don't dance around it, try to come up with something super cute and like create. No, just fucking ask them out. Like, there is nothing more frustrating. Because here's the thing: is all the stuff that's like super cutesy and stuff in movies. If you actually do that to someone, it's kind of creepy. Don't just straight up be like, "Hey, go through the effort of figuring out if there's like a particular movie that she likes, like whatever kind of date you want to ask them on." And
Make
don't just
it
like walk up to
Facebook
them and be like,
official.
"Hey, do you want to be my girlfriend or do you want to be my boyfriend?" Like, don't do that. Ask them on an actual date and just find out something that they like. If it's a particular movie they want to see or something, be like, "Hey, I was gonna go see, this movie this weekend. I was wondering if you would want to join." Start it like that. Don't be like, "Hey, do you want to go on a date with me?" Be like, "Hey, do you want to go do something together that you enjoy? Okay, let's see how this goes." Like, do that. Make it a no pressure thing. So if she says no, it's like, okay, well, cool. Like, I'm like, you asked her to join you on something you were already gonna do, so now it's not like a rejection, and you don't have to feel bad, and she doesn't have to feel bad, or like say
You
yes
still had a
on
good time.
date or any of that. Like, do that, but just fucking talk to her. Don't do like leaving like a note on something or like
subtle hints don't work. They
No,
don't.
subtle hints don't work, and
They'll scratch their car saying like, "Want to go out?"
I have a funny story. Like, the first time I went out, like, with my ex to go and watch a movie, it was Ice Age 4. And this
you broke the ice?
No. This is how blunt I was. Like, this was how, like, I didn't get it at all. I was just like, we're going on a movie, and I just wanted to see a movie with her. We were not in that kind of, like, boyfriend, girlfriend kind of thing yet. We were just really good friends. She visits me in a dress that was, like, amazing. And I was just like, oh damn. Like, suddenly, after we actually went to the movies, I suddenly realized, hang on, was that actually, like, a serious thing?
Your face palm so hard
Like,
you mush your brain.
I was just like, why did she wear a really good dress to go see fucking Ice Age? And I was like, oh... afterwards, because I'm an idiot.
9 times out of 10, the first date for people, one of them doesn't realize it's a date. Usually that's how it goes. And then it's like, at that point, it's like, okay. And you can either at that point choose to call it a date if it went well, and if it didn't go well, just be like, "Oh, well, we hung out and it wasn't all that fun." Like, having that wiggle room is nice, and some people are like, "Oh, that's really a cop-out." It's like, no, that's just kind of the world we are in at this point, because girls at this point, we have no idea if you're asking us out to hang out, if you're asking us out on a date, if you're hoping for a hookup, and we can't ask that question. So if you make it no pressure when you're asking someone out, then we're a ton more likely to say yes, because we're not, like, if we just like you, if we're, like, not really sure, and we definitely want to be friends, we maybe want to date, the odds are not in our favor. Okay, 2 out of 3 of the options can put us in a really terrible position. So if you make it no pressure, we're more likely to say yes, and then you can just go from there.
I mean, it was a really good hint, because I was like, I didn't see it coming. I didn't think that she would be, for fuck's sake. But
I can kind of relate to that, Tyler.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was just like, I was just going to watch a movie with you. I was not expecting, like, this. And then suddenly it triggered in my head. It's like, duh, Tyler, she wants to be more than that, you fucking idiot. She knows you're single. This was a hint, So I look back at that day where I'm just sitting there in my worst jeans with a stupid fucking shirt on and just what I would wear, like, clean stuff still, but just like what I would wear every day, sitting next to someone that is really, like, dressed up, and I'm just like, derp. We're just watching a movie together.
I think
not seeing the fucking hint.
I think we've all been oblivious at some point. in our lives
I think
with that.
I made up for it.
Not as bad as fuck, I forgot his name. The guy who blew a chance to date Nicole Kidman.
Oh, that talk show host in America.
Shit, I forgot his name. Jimmy Fallon.
That's
Not as bad as he did, but anyway. But Jen, I do have a better way to ask someone out than what you did. With all due respect, your strategy is great. But here's the thing, kids. Listen and learn from Uncle Sloth. First, you grab your spear. Then you go out and you hunt a fucking mammoth. Once you defeat the mammoth and you're covered in the blood of the mammoth, you drag that, the mammoth's corpse to the house of the lady you're fencing or the guy you're fencing. It can be both ways. Then you knock on their door, and then you put your spear on the head of the mammoth again, and you're like, "Hey, got this for you. Wanna hang out?"
This is how it was done in the fucking caveman times.
No.
Shut up.
I've got it even better than that.
And then, no, wait, I'm not done. Then, 10 out of 10, the person will say like, "Hell yeah, you got me a mammoth. Now I can make a carpet out of this bitch and use the tusk to, I don't know, fucking shank someone."
Wrap it up,
So-
we get it.
Okay, this is
Christ.
getting too...
Sorry.
This is how it was done during the Ice Age. During the Caveman Age, TJ.
This is how it was done
They
during
would
Tyler's
club
date.
people in the head, and that is not polite. Don't do that. But hunting mammoths, good strategy.
To say you're a little bit behind the times, I think is a little bit of an understatement.
Yeah.
I think you need to fast forward a couple millennia right there, and then we can have a conversation.
Fine, grab a spare and then stab a car and then bring a car to your date's house.
Maybe that's what the guy on the moped was trying to do.
He was trying to stab my car
He
to
was
take
trying
to
to
his
ask you
date's
out on a
house.
date.
Yep.
He was trying to ask you out on a date.
Hey, I stabbed your car with my moped.
I smashed your backside in.
Oh god, no. That is too destructive. Anyway, TJ, you're going to say something? Your strategy?
Well, I was gonna use the caveman example, but I mean, you kind of gave it away.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
polite, dude. But no, in all seriousness, I think Jen's might be the closest one. Or mine.
Yep. I'm just imparting all kinds of knowledge and wisdom over here.
All right,
But hey,
so
let
do
us
we
know in the
wanna-
comments. Try asking someone out. Try my method and Jen's method, and see which one works best.
Try
Mine-
the caveman method too. That might work.
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
totally honest. If someone showed up at my front door with a mammoth, I'm totally gonna go on a date with them because I'm really I want to know where the fuck they found a mammoth.
See,
Yeah.
it fucking works.
At that point, I'm just too curious to say no.
Oh well. So before
Better
we
not be
wrap
that
up,
cheap elephant shit.
I mean, elephants are much easier to find than mammoths. So, what, Tyler?
No, nothing. Wrap up.
Okay. So before we wrap up, we need a question for the audience. And Jen, now it's your turn.
It's my turn to do what?
Oh, she has
Ask
to
a
give
question for the audience.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh God, I need to come up with a question.
You guys never did this in podcast 6 the last time.
Yeah,
Like, podcast
Yeah.
5.
Shit.
Sorry.
I'm unprepared. Okay, question for the audience. Oh, this is an argument I was having the other day with somebody. Cake or pie?
Ooh.
Like, which one's better or what it
Which
should be
one's
named?
better, cake or
Okay.
pie? And I'm not saying you have to hate all of the other one. Like, if
Just
you say
your
cake, you're not. It's
favorite
not like
one.
you can be like all pies are disgusting. Like you could still like some pies, but if somebody said, "I'm gonna offer you dessert," it's cake or it's pie, and they're not gonna tell you anything else. Which one do you pick?
There's a geographical problem here. With pies over there, you're talking about, like, sweet pies, aren't you? Don't you guys have a different definition for it over there?
What? Now I'm confused. There's a different
It's
way to
because
define
in
a
England
pie?
England
they have
has
like
meat
pork
pies.
pies.
Yeah, like, our pies are usually, like,
Yeah,
savory
like
meats.
I'm talking like key lime pie and cherry pie and apple pie and like a dessert pastry item.
She's my cherry pie. Cool drink of water since you say it's surprise.
Can't
Like
say
yeah,
that.
that kind of pie. There you go.
Probably cake. But anyway.
All right then. So everyone, thank you so much for listening. Jen, thank you so much for being with us today.
Of course, thank you for having me. I'll see you in another 50 podcasts, I guess. If we're gonna keep this
Yay.
up.
Hopefully before that. And everyone, don't forget you can listen to the outro to find out how to interact with us. And until next week, don't actually hunt a mammoth. Or do.
Nah, do it. Totally do it.
Yeah, and let us know how it goes.
I mean,
commands you to bring
if you find a mammoth, that means it's probably like the last one on Earth. So have fun driving an entire species into extinction.
You monster.
That's a sign of love right there.
So, until next week, bye.
Bye.
Bye, the cake is a pie.
The cake is a pie!
Thanks for listening to the Shifty Key Podcast. The intro and outro music is provided to us by our editor, TDBTyler. To get more involved with the Shifty Key Podcast, you can answer the questions for the audience asked by our guests, or even ask the cast a question of your very own, either here in the YouTube comments or in our Rooster Teeth group. To keep updated with this channel's shenanigans, you can follow us on Twitter, join and watch our group on Rooster Teeth, or simply subscribe. All links will be in the description. Until next week, goodbye.
Wow. You know
Porto
what?
3, everyone.
I have not, like, the cake is alive thing has been around for so long. I've never actually made or heard someone come up with a cake is a pie fucking thing ever. I'm surprised that hasn't been a thing that I've heard. Sorry.
Wow.
TJ is a
I'm
genius.
pretty sure I've said that before, though. Haven't I?
I don't know, but like, I
No
thought
one
that
was
was cool.
around.
That caught me off guard. That was incredible. Cake is a pie. Fucking hell. I feel like an idiot that I haven't thought of that before.
Oh man, now I'm craving for some strawberry pie. If my sister listens to this part of the podcast, she'll know what I'm talking about.
Why are you guys having pie today? Or
My
something?
mom makes the best strawberry pie ever of all time.
Unarguable. Like she goes and wins competitions at strawberry pie making.
Nah, it's like
She's been number one.
Every year, I politely ask, although they kind of say like I nearly torture everyone in the house until we get the strawberry pie. So it's just that I'm quite insistent, you know. I go like, "Hey, strawberry pie. Hey, hey,
Do it.
this is the month of strawberries. Strawberry pie."
Oh, so you hint at it, but in really typical ways.
Alright, guys. Well, I gotta get going. Bye! I appreciate the invite to come on, but seriously, we'll try to get on again before 105. But
Totally.
at the very least, if we're approaching 105 and I haven't been on yet, then we have to plan for 105 just to keep the joke going. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys have a great day, evening, morning. I don't know what everyone's time zone is currently. So whatever the time appropriate departure.
Have a good
whatever
thing.
the opposite of a greeting is.
Have a great one.
I can't. Yeah, have a great one. There we go.
Have a good GMT -1.
There we go.
And I think I should wrap up the recording with your departure.
And I will catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye, Jen.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone, as well.